You know what? Let's start off our stream with a little short write-up I did just for you, Jason. Okay? So this is for all the Sombra players in your life, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get some emotional music. Emotional, non-copyright music. Something that could really deliver the message right. Okay, great. All right, to Sombra players, but especially you, Jason. You're a pathogen and a plague. A pestilence to anyone who's had the misfortune of playing with or against you. As even the pleasure of taking your SR is deviously recompensed by forcing everyone in the lobby to witness the shameless abomination that you purport to be gameplay. Shame on you, on everything you are, everything you stand for, and everything you ever will be. May your throne rot and your name wither, and that everyone that ever loved you realize the terrible, terrible mistake that they made. Thanks. Timing is the big one. I look at 3 things this summer when I'm looking. Timing is one. Timing and angles, right? Exactly positioning. Translocator placement as well. Absolutely. So the other thing, the thing with positioning with Sombra isn't just about like the angle that you're holding. So like you're going to either hold here or you're going to hold here and stuff like that. A lot of it depends on the angle that you hold versus the enemy composition. So against more spammy compositions, you're going to prioritize a little bit more backline pressure because you get more pressure on spammier compositions. So if you force an Ashe to turn around, that's more expensive for her team and more helpful for your team than it is if you make like a Lucio turn around a little bit, right? So for versus spammier compositions and Yadas, Ashes, Widowmakers, things like that, deeper angles are better for more value, not from farming EMP necessarily, but from actual kill threat, okay? Then there's a value that you can get from just playing Sombra 76. For example, if we look at this composition here and they had no spam, right? So they had only brawlier stuff. There's like, let's say this was like a Reaper. You as a Sombra would not really need to go backline, right? Getting an Ana to turn around briefly is not a lot of value. You're not turning away a lot of spam greedy DPS dealers. Instead, you can outrange every single one of these heroes if this is a Reaper. Or like another Sombra, a Tracer, etc. And so you could play like Sombra 76 and hold a more conservative angle and just hold mouse 1. Now the reason, why would you hold a more conservative angle if you're playing up against a brawlier playstyle? Why would you do that? Ult charge. Okay, well, but why? But why do you get more ult charge playing a more conservative angle? Isn't that kind of backwards? Right? Right, you don't get cleared out. Exactly, because you are within. Well, why don't you get cleared out? I'm gonna ask that last question because that's the real key. Why is it easier to clear you out when you're in backline than it is when you're on frontline? Because you can stay longer. Why? Why can you stay longer? Because they can't clear you off in a conservative angle. Why? Team help. That's it. Right. When you're taking a more conservative angle like this, you can be healed, you can be peeled, you can be assisted. Right? Whereas if I'm back here, I cannot get help. And so you only do these type of angles against very greedy spam where yes, if I take a conservative angle, I can get team help, but that doesn't really stop me when the enemy Ashe is blowing my head off, right? I can't really be healed through that. So that's the adjustment right there, okay? The other thing with Sombra, with positioning, is you need to be playing corners cover. Because remember what we talked about with Tracer yesterday? It's not just about being at the right position. It's about being at the right position and maintaining that pressure for as long of a time as possible. So for you, and we remember we coached Bird Ring Sombra versus Doha Sombra, Overwatch League level Sombras. Bird Ring's cover usage was pretty weak, at least from what we saw. Doha's cover usage, right? And what did that mean? It meant that Doha, it wasn't just about Doha dying less. It was about the fact that Doha could actually stay on these angles for long periods of time. Oh, I got shot once. Like he was almost playing like a Widow duel because he's going to stay there for a long time. He's going to make you physically toot your little tootsies all the way up the stairs and get rid of him, or actually commit a jump or a diva boosters. You're not going to be able to just shoot him out in the open and force his Translocator. All right? Because you want as much pressure. I mean, we talked about this with Ego Scott. As much pressure as you possibly can for as much time as you possibly can. And there's more pressure on the enemy team against spam by going backline, right? Because you can actually scare and kill people right? It's harder to kill a Zenyatta. For example, if I'm trying to kill a Zenyatta from up here, it's not going to happen. But if there's this running a Zenyatta and I'm back here, this might actually happen, right? Right? Just common sense. But if there is no Zenyatta and there's a bunch of Brawl heroes, I don't really get to stay longer back here necessarily because I can't get support. So instead, I'm not worried about kill threat pressure. I'm worrying about longevity pressure. Just, I know I'm not going to get a lot of damage done, but I will stay here for a darn long time. Every angle, whether it's conservative or aggressive, should have cover nearby or corner nearby, always, almost without exception. So for example here, like this is an aggressive angle to me, but you're still playing it in your cover and corner. Right, and then this is, you know, a conservative angle, but that doesn't give you the right to play out here. You kind of see what I'm saying? This is out in the middle of the open. Okay, so I know this all sounds very complicated, but the TLDR is that you're playing an angle with cover at the same time as your team is pressuring. How deep you go depends on whether you're trying to play to farm ult charge because hey, they can't shoot me if I peek here, or whether you're trying to get kills because there's actually really squishy heroes that I can kill here, right? Because if you try and play like this against a Widowmaker or a Zenyatta or not necessarily McCree, but like an Ashe, you're more likely to get killed and less likely to build ult charge. And if you play like this against brawlier style comps, you're less likely to get ult charge and you're more likely to get killed as well. Okay? The goal is to make your cycles as fast as you possibly can. Not because you need to be cycling indiscriminately, but because you don't want to be like, oh, my team has been fighting and I'm taking 12 hours to stage. When your team is fighting, you should be fighting for as long of that fight cycle. And then if you do get your Translocator force, no big deal, but you are back in it as quickly as you can. Now, if the enemy team had already killed your team and the fight was over, I don't want you going in for another pressure cycle. Or if your team had reset and were hiding and waiting, I don't want you going for a pressure cycle. But whenever your team is fighting, like they're doing right now, as you want like 75, 80%, I'm just picking a random number, of that uptime you to be involved in, okay? And again, this is what we talked about, kill pressure, right? Could we, as Sombra, gone for the hack on Rein? Yes, but what would have happened? Ashe would have shot us and either canceled the Rein hack, killed us, or forced our Translocator. And so we're back to, our pressure is 0. So it's better for us to not go for Rein and to go for Ashe, because who's going to force our Translocator right now? The Ashe? Maybe, but she's kind of too busy running right now, right? So what you do is you actually increase the amount of pressure you put out, not by hacking Rein, but by going backline, because this is a squishy hero that you can threaten, right? You get bubble, you really didn't need it. That hack is fine-ish, but probably not really necessary. And again, so you might not get any kills out of this here, but you can look at your ult charge, which is actually pretty decent for this early in the fight, and also look at what the enemy team is responding to, right? Uno, dos, tres. This person had to reposition awkwardly. This person is turning around. All of that just off of you. And that's great. That's really good. And now your monkey might actually get this kill on the Reinhardt. Your Ashe is, your Hanzo's able to get the Ashe, etc. So this is so far so good. Not a whole lot to say. So for me, I actually don't mind this too much. But what I do want you doing is recognizing what? What can we recognize right now, chat? Who on the enemy team is dead? Ana and Ashe. I mean, honestly, both are kind of impactful for what we're looking for. So play Sombra 76, exactly. So now you no longer have to go backline anymore. Now you could just stand and hold mouse 1 on an angle or at a different position and force Diva Matrix and force Rein Shield and force Mercy and just farm and farm. You don't have to go for assassinations anymore because there's no Ashe or Ana that are going to spam you out and force your Translocator. Nobody on the enemy team can reach you. So you could play Sombra 76. Probably, so many in chat saying your Translocator placement could be a little better. I probably agree. I think this early in the fight, so your Translocator placement has to be moldable. I won't go into details here, but your Translocator placement needs to be flexible about where your team is taking the fight. Listen carefully. If your team is taking the fight here, your Translocator placement could be literally right here. But as your team, let's say you get your Translocator force, whatever, and your team is kited out to this back high ground, it is no longer safe to be here, so you need to put it a little bit further back, like here or here. And then if your team goes all the way up to this high ground here, well, then now you have to place your Translocator all the way out here. You kind of see how there is no my challenge for you Sombra players out there is not to go, oh, this is a place to put Sombra Translocator. Coach Spilo said, no, it is to always place it a little further behind from where your team is setting up to take the fight, preferably around cover or on high ground or somewhere that's a little bit awkward to access. And then you adjust it based off of where your team is taking the fight or where they're set up, okay? So you, right now, like you'll see Sombras in Overwatch League even throw the Translocator up here, they'll go and spawn, they'll farm, they'll translocate here, and even though this, and this is a feed, 10 seconds later. So what do? They go back here and they throw it back here. Because instantly the Winston jumps up here and you go from there. What's the issue with Translocator? Where is the fight location changed? It has gone from over here to now we have backed all the way up to here, and we have not adjusted our Translocator placement. Our Translocator needs to be here or here or here. We need to adjust it and back off accordingly. It's not your space anymore. I mean, basically, right? Or it's too close, right? Okay. Now let's look at what we're actually going to do, because what we're going to do is concerning. You're going to front line. Now you did this earlier, but your monkey was on the back line, right? So it wasn't really a front line, okay? But not only is it bad that you're taking this angle, remember who's alive now? Is this the most pressure that you could be doing on the enemy team right now? If we look at things in terms of raw pressure, whether that's kill threat or farming EMP, you make it a lot easier to know when and how to engage. Is this a lot of pressure right now? No. I mean, honestly, this Reinhardt shouldn't have been hacked in the first place. This is, you know, low masters. He's just going to shield, right? And what's going to happen? This Genji's going to dash you. The Ana's going to throw a sleep dart at you, and the Ashe will shoot you. And you're not forcing the enemy team to turn around. You're not threatening a kill. Ironically, you'll farm less EMP and you'll have less kill pressure and you'll risk your life more by positioning here now. Pressure wouldn't change anything at this point, but that's where you're wrong. Because yes, the fight is lost, but pressure isn't just about, it's not just about getting kills. It might slow down the enemy team long enough for your Zarya to get out, for your Hanzo to get out, for your Ana to get out, and maybe get a Regan test. And more easily, more pressure means more EMP charge. Are we going to get more EMP charge from doing this or doing this? Now, I know we talked about, oh, you go backline to threaten kills more. We go threaten and go backline because it also allows you to stay in the fight longer. Right. So let's watch. I assume this is going to get our Translocator forced, like right there. So instantly forced. And we're still not adjusting a Translocator. Like at this point, this Translocator is actually a hard throw. Like a really hard throw. So you either want to translocate in this situation, you would want it all the way back here, maybe even on top of plane, or back here because you've given up first point. Or if the enemy composition doesn't have, I mean, they don't have a lot of mobility, so technically you could put your Translocator back here, right? Where you're like, okay, well now I'm playing in their own backline. But you have to choose. It can't be on top of the enemy team. It can either be way behind them if they've got nothing to chase you, or it can be in your own team's backline. One or the other. This is not going to cut it. It's neither aggressive nor is it conservative, and watch what's going to happen. You should be dead. You should be dead, and you're dead. Yeah, exactly. And now what? Now we're gonna have. You could have gone through another pressure cycle. Maybe your team's gonna take an aggressive fight in the choke. I don't know, but you're no longer part of that anymore, and so you're gonna be delayed in your next kill set as well. So I also have a problem with this Translocator. What's the problem with this Translocator? It's too far. Exactly. This is a long way away from where the fight is happening. It doesn't need to be that conservative. It could be all the way here, and you're not going to get punished for it almost ever. Maybe. Very unlikely. You could throw your Translocator down here. Totally fine. So remember, it's making our cycles too long. If we translocate out, we're going to be gone like 9 or 10 seconds instead of 7 or 8 or 5 or 6, right? That's the problem. All right, so somehow we stop this. That's great. Oh, we adjust our Translocator. That's good. This one might be actually a little too aggressive, but at this point, I'm just glad to see that we adjusted it. Nice. Be careful of Ashe LOS here, right? Because we don't love this position because of Ashe LOS. This is why you'd want to be like up here or up here, somewhere on a backline angle where Ashe can't see you. She doesn't have a good sightline on you. That's why we don't love frontlining, right? Just shoot him. This is probably okay. Again, I would love to see this just because of, well, actually, you know what? Yeah, because of the Genji. They're not on Diva, so it's a little bit more flexible, but probably just like here, probably would be a little better for me. But it's okay. So this Translocator is probably fine given the circumstances. It's not likely the enemy team will hold this aggressive, but yeah, let's just see what happens. Again here, my concern here, well, yeah, let's just see what happens. Okay, your monkey's in. You need to be going. 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 You're not paying attention to your monkey at all. So you decloak here. You force him out. You swing wide again. You translocate for whatever reason. You rehack, and I want you to watch very carefully. Where's my Sombra? Where's my Sombra? Where's my hack on the enemy Ashe or on the enemy the Bercy? Where's my pressure from backline on the Zarya Ana that's going to allow my monkey to actually pursue and get the kill? Sit right here. Bait sleep dart. Bait hook. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Be a thorn in their side when your monkey's going in. And because you're too busy going through your goofy translocator cycle, you're in no position to help out at all. And remember, against this composition, especially with the Ashe, the Hog, the Ana, you really don't want to be taking really conservative angles. You kind of need to be going more aggressive whenever you can. Yeah, our comp is kind of dog, to be honest, but whatever. Like right now, this is not at all the play. Like I cannot emphasize how much you are feeding right now with your current positioning and how easy it's going to be for you to get shot, smashed, and at the very least your translocator like forced. Like, do you dress yourself in the morning? Are you sure? Like, is it like, are you functional? Like hack on Zarya. Okay, and right, and okay, fine, good, okay. Probably would have adjusted my translocator placement again, right? You would need to stay in stealth, grab the health pack here, run all the way back here, throw your translocator in here, and then set up for your EMP. Again, this translocator is now in a position where it can actively get punished.
I guess they haven't had enough.
They might find it. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Fine. Maybe a tad late. You would have liked that a little earlier once they had bobbed, probably. But fine. Oh no. Oh, that's gonna be huge. Do you see my problem with the translocator placement now? Do you see it right? Do you see? There's a literal graviton blizzard out right now, and you're running from a Valking Mercy. Ah! Please fix it. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Yes. Oh, you deserve that so much. Oh, I'm so delighted that you lost to that. And this is what we're talking about, okay? Like we've been talking about the maybe or could have or should have or this indirectly reduce your value, and then that one was just a slap in the face, right? That's like eating sweets for a long time, you know, and not feeling good, having headaches, and then all of a sudden you got heart disease, right? It's not the subtleties anymore. You got smacked in the face with the recompense of your decisions, right? You're refusing to adjust. You've placed your translocator in the spot 3 times in a row. You place your translocator in plane 3 times in a row. You place your translocator in first mega 3 times in a row. Can we actually look at what we force here? Hey, all right. You see it though? You see it? You see it? You see it? Even though you mussed it up. You forced bubble. Hog looked at you. Ana through sleep dart. Look at this. They're all spooked. You know? There you go. That being said, look at your translocator placement. Look at where the team is actually taking the fight. Do you see the problem with this? Also, by the way, chat, what is our responsibility now? Where do we get the most pressure as Sombra in the current situation? Posture check. Thank you. Yeah. It's on the health pack. They won't see it. Yeah, sorry. Widow, exactly. So again, it's about pressure. It's not just about EMP charge or, you know, it's you go, okay, well, if I go for Widow, I will probably kill her, or I will force Mercy to turn around and beam her, and Anna to turn around and hawk at her, and maybe a hog hook, and she's gonna be screaming and tilting at her team and uninstalling and smashing her desk, right? Right? It's not just what you like. It's not just about the kill. It's about what even if you don't get the kill, what it forces. It's so much better than what you're doing right now. Hacking a Genji, great pressure. Okay, that was my. I don't know what that was, honestly. But this does not. This is just dumb. This is like. I don't understand what you're expecting here. Like you not only not only is your cover usage here not as clean, right? You see this, but you're shooting at Genji. Why? Why? When you have a free Widow, right? And if you're going, and you could decloak here and shoot Hog, right? But you'd shoot Hog to bait hook, dodge hook, and then keep shooting and build ult charge. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like it's about like min-maxing pressure. And once again, your Translocator place, not only did you have it here, you replaced it here. And you're dead. So I'm thrilled. Okay, so again, we look at the situation here and we see like what's a priority here. Now Hanzo's pretty hairy to play into, but you can still play around him. So to me, your priority here is probably dueling backline, probably dueling Ashe and playing your cover and just being a general nuisance, because you're not going to really be able to farm up much EMP on nice, long, comfortable, soft angles, because there's Hog Hook, Hanzo headshot, Diva that can boost stretch you, and the Ashe shot. Okay, so I understand what we're doing now. We did it. You actually adjusted your Translocator placement based off of where the fight location was happening. Unbelievable. Now we don't have to translocate all the way off into Nicaragua or the Panama Canal next time you want to go for another cycle. Wow. Well done. Well done. All right. Oh no. Oh no, you didn't. Oh. I never watched Game of Thrones, but this must have been what it was like watching the finale. Like you're like, you build up to like, no. Okay, all right, chat, turn on your brains. What's the problem with this? Right, like this is an Ashe. This is how you would take the duel versus the Ashe. Short sight line, or like even up in here, right? This is so much more pressure and so much less safe, and so much more safe than you. And you also force her to actually turn around, which you want to do whenever you can. This is not going to be good. It shouldn't be good. It might be, but right. Look at you. You back off, and now look at your position here. You're main botting. You're not putting angle pressure. You're not forcing enemies to turn around. You're not threatening assassinations. You don't have any. You're not in any position to go for hack, even if you wanted to. No. Oh, look at you. Your Sombra 76ing against a composition with spam. Your Zarya would really appreciate it if you could get one of these jackasses to turn around, right? Or to actually force a kill, so she's not getting lit up like a Christmas tree. Instead, you're playing Tickle Me Elmo with yourself over here. Again, I'm astonished that you're actually adjusting your Translocator placement, but I'm like too busy being angry at you to like for it to even matter. Do you not realize the risk that you are in right now? Like, I mean, at this point, you guys are already rolling this fight, but you're playing with fire, right? Swapping your Translocator placement and decloak positioning, pressured decision, basically. Yeah, it was literally just Translocator placement, I think, and just deciding on what you need to do in each and every fight. Like, I know that sounds like a weird thing to give you to focus on, but we talked so much about how like you're doing the wrong thing here, or you should have been doing this, or you should have been doing that. You're mispositioned here and there, but I really do feel like either we explained it well enough on the VOD, or you already knew it to begin with. You just need to actually be thinking about it, because it's problematic that you're getting such, like, you're going for Hog when you should be going for Widow, or you're going for Ashe from a million miles away when you should be directly up behind her near cover. Like, these are things that you should know, and if you don't, you need to fix, right? So that's my key for you. And then obviously the Translocator placement, and not just Translocator placement, that's all, but actually adjusting your Translocator placement based off of where the fight is actually occurring. So you're not getting your Translocator destroyed and you caught with your pants down, or that you're actually able to increase the speed of your cycles, because maybe your translocator is not adjusting and you're slow to the fight, or maybe your translocator is not adjusting and you're getting picked because they're catching you with your translocator.